So tier lists have been very popular lately, and I think it's about time I gave my 2 cents on the COD tier list. So if you don't know, what's going on here is that we have a tier list which you can see on screen now, and it has every single COD from COD 1 to Cold War, and we're just gonna rate this on the tier list. And of course, my tier list is the only tier list that matters. No other tier list matters, only my opinions. If you have a different opinion, you're obviously incorrect here. But before we get into that, welcome back to the channel, team. And if you are new here, I hope you enjoy your stay and you may come back later. Hope you enjoy it here though. But let's just get straight into this. So I feel like what we should start off with is the never played. So of course, if you don't know, the games I've never played in COD are COD 1, 2, 3, and surprisingly, I have never played Call of Duty World at War. I know, it's the one COD that I feel like I should have played, but I've just never played it. Now, don't get me wrong, I've played zombie maps from it. For example, the Zombies Chronicles and Black Ops 3 has a lot of World at War maps. I played those. I played some multiplayer remakes, like there's one in Black Ops 2, I forget the name of it, but it's a remake from a map from World at War. So I've kind of got like almost a trial of World at War, but I've never actually played the 360 2008 World at War. So after that, let's just get straight into it. So after COD 3, we have COD 4 Modern Warfare, which was the first game to really bring Call of Duty into a big scene, you could say. This is where competitive really took off, but it got its groove going, and it became more popular. So I feel like COD 4, and while I have played it, I didn't play it in its prime since I was just not old enough to play in its prime. So I was playing it in like 2011, 2010, back when it wasn't completely dead, but it wasn't just in its prime. So I'm gonna go ahead and put COD 4 in A because it just did so much for the COD just genre and franchise, and it brought one of the best series ever in the form of Modern Warfare. But after COD 4, we have World at War, which of course I didn't play. So if you don't know, World at War was Treyarch's answer to COD 4. But ignoring that, after World at War, we have Modern Warfare 2. Now, Modern Warfare 2 is always regarded as one of the best, and it's either you like Black Ops 2 or you like Modern Warfare 2. There's really no other option here, but I surprisingly don't like Modern Warfare 2 as much as everyone paints it to be. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a phenomenal game, alright? It has a lot of good aspects to it, and it's just overall a great game, but if I compare it to other CODs, which we'll see later, I just don't enjoy it as much. Now, the one thing I've never really liked about it is, of course, its broken mechanics and guns, because they never got patched out like they would in newer CODs, and the colors. Now, I know that sounds weird, but the colors in the Modern Warfare franchise, I have never liked them at all. So, from COD 4 to Modern Warfare 3, and even Modern Warfare 2019, the colors have always been so dull and just not enjoyable to look at. But I do have to give Modern Warfare 2 credit because it is, again, a great Call of Duty, and it's where Trickshotting got its spotlight. So that's where FaZe, they blew up, all these other orgs, they blew up, and Modern Warfare 2, just Trickshotting was a huge thing. So overall, I'd give Modern Warfare 2 an S. Alright, I wouldn't say it's an SS because I personally didn't enjoy it that much, but it's still a goated game. But after Modern Warfare 2, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 1. Now, I'm going to be a little biased here since if you don't know, which not many people do know, Call of Duty Black Ops 1 was my very first Call of Duty that I ever played. I was probably a little too young to be playing Call of Duty at the time, but I was still able to play Call of Duty. I was probably like 9 or something, and I was just playing Kino der Toten. I was playing 5, and that's actually kind of funny story since Kino was always the easier map and 5 was always hard. I remember back in the day, if you know now, zombies, if you get past round 5, the actual round says number 6 on it. Before, it was still it was like the little scribbles, the little tally marks, right? And once you got to round 11, that's when it would say round 11. And I remember when I used to get to round 11 and see those tally marks go from just tally marks to a number, I used to get so hyped, and multiplayer was great on this game. Now, I also won't lie, I actually never got to play Xbox Live multiplayer Black Ops until much later on, because I didn't have Xbox Live at the time, so I was just playing bots and by myself. And a little fun fact, if you play bots in Black Ops, it would take all your friends from your friends list and make them the bots name, so I always thought that was pretty cool. But later on, when I did get to play Black Ops Online, it was always so fun, and their wager matches is always my favorite thing in the world. So Back in the day, COD points is what they were, and it's not like the COD points we know now, but they had COD points in Black Ops where you could just buy stuff from attachments to guns and all of that, and you used to be able to wager some COD points in matches to either lose some or gain some, and I always thought that was a great idea, and I would love to see that come back. Not even with like COD points of real money, but just with something in-game that's free, and also hearing that you're in the money was always great.
In the money.
So coming out to things, I'm gonna have to give Black Ops 1 an SS because it is my first COD and it's my favorite COD, and of course I'm a little biased here, so it's gonna just be ahead of everything else because it's just me. But after Black Ops 1, we have Modern Warfare 3. Now, Modern Warfare 3 was the next COD I got, and I won't lie, I didn't enjoy it as much as Black Ops 1. Now, I was able to play this online, and this was when I started watching competitive stuff, so I was getting more into the COD scene. So I was watching Nadeshot, I was watching Scumpy, I was getting into this, I learned about FaZe, I learned about Optic. This is where, like, Modern Warfare 3 didn't change it for me, but it just introduced everything to me. So, overall, Modern Warfare 3 was a good game. Now, it did have its problems, yes, and of course the colors were terrible. I still just... all the Modern Warfare series, I hate the colors on them. It's not vibrant, it's dull and looks... it doesn't even look realistic. It's just dull and boring, personally. But what I do enjoy most about Modern Warfare 3 was the times I had where I was playing on Terminal and I was playing Spec Ops with my friends, and you would be on that little platform on the right side of the plane and you'd be hiding from the juggernauts. That just was phenomenal. I love that time. It's so great just thinking about that. So Modern Warfare 3, while not as my favorite as Black Ops 1, I still think it's great, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the A tier next to Call of Duty Modern Warfare. After Modern Warfare 3 though, we have Black Ops 2. One of, if not the best Call of Duties ever made, regarded as one of the best, and it's as simple as that. This is an SS automatically. Everything about this was just great. Now, I won't lie, the zombies, everyone says Black Ops 2 zombies had the best, but we could keep it real here, alright? Black Ops 2 zombies wasn't the greatest. It had like 2 phenomenal maps and a lot of misses. You had Origins and Mob of the Dead, phenomenal maps. Then you had maps like Farm and Diary, just complete misses. Now, Transit does get its fair share of hate, but let's keep it real. If you play Transit with a queue of 4 players, all being your friends, it was pretty fun. You can't lie. Transit was super fun if you had a 4 queue. Now, by yourself, Transit is garbage, and I can understand that. But with friends, Transit was super fun. And same thing with Nuketown. Like, with a bunch of friends, it was super hectic, and you probably weren't getting past round 15. But by yourself, it was amazingly fun, and it was just a new addition to zombies that we haven't seen. With you have to pray that Juggernaut comes down from the sky, or pray that the Pack Machine comes. So overall, Black Ops 2, I love it. The campaign was one of my favorites. Multiplayer was also one of my favorites. Had the most memorable time on it. Just overall, Black Ops 2, I cannot think anything negative of it besides its somewhat lackluster zombie map. So SS. Simple as that. Great COD. It was the best COD, honestly. Now, after Black Ops 2, this is where a lot of people have said COD started to die. And honestly, while I wouldn't say they're right, I kind of have to agree with them a little bit. So after that, we have Call of Duty Ghosts. And actually, Call of Duty Ghosts was the first COD that I've ever pre-ordered ever. So this is when I'm full in on COD, right? I'm watching pros, I'm watching YouTube, I'm just on COD 24/7. And Call of Duty Ghosts was terrible when it launched. It was just bad, and I didn't enjoy it. And playing pubs on that was terrible. But its 2 redeeming factors was that one zombies mode. I think it's called like Extinction or something. I couldn't think of it. That was a super fun mode. I would love to see that back. And the competitive scene. Now, I wasn't competitive at the time, and honestly, I was pretty terrible at COD. Still am, kind of, but I was pretty bad. But watching Scump, Nade, that whole Optic roster with Proofy, Scump, Nade, and Clay, oh my god. You had teams like Complexity, which were just powerhouses. Just Call of Duty Ghosts competitive, from watching wager matches on just GBs or watching actual pro matches. It's just overall great. So Call of Duty Ghosts, while not my favorite, I do have to give to it. It's one of the most fun competitives I ever watched, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it in C tier. But if it wasn't for comp or the Extinction mode, it'd probably be an F tier. Let's just keep it real. After Ghost though, we brought it a couple more years in the future with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now, I don't know why, but everyone hates on this game. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare was a phenomenal game, and I will not be told otherwise. I love this game. Not only was competitive great on it, but multiplayer pubs was great on it. You had campaign, also great. You had zombies, not bad, I won't lie, but it could have been better. And you also had that little Easter egg where if you beat the zombies, I forgot how the zombies worked honestly, but if you beat it, you got to play as a zombie in multiplayer. You have a zombie character. I remember doing that. It was great. Overall, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is a phenomenal game, and if you hate on Advanced Warfare, you were probably just bad at the game. Let's just keep it real. Advanced Warfare was a phenomenal game, and this is easily getting an A. Now, after Advanced Warfare, we have Black Ops 3, again, another futuristic jump pack COD, and I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't play this game this much. I gave up pretty quickly. I didn't even prestige once. I just got to 55, and I called it quits, so overall, I just didn't play it much, but coming back to it now, I gotta say, it has the best zombies out of any COD, the best zombies, Black Ops 3, especially with the Zombies Chronicles map pack. It has a phenomenal multiplayer, which it honestly has the best advanced movement system. You can say the 3D movement, the jetpack. I'd say Black Ops 3 has the best movement for that. It has really fun guns. It has the second best reactive skins in Call of Duty history, and it has a campaign. Now, the campaign is pretty terrible, but zombies and multiplayer makes it a pretty good game, so I'm gonna have to put this in B tier. Now, if this was beginning Black Ops 3 2015, I probably would put it lower, but coming back to Black Ops 3 now, I think it's pretty good. After Black Ops 3 though, we somehow made it even further into the future with Infinite Warfare, and this is regarded as the worst Call of Duty of all time, but honestly, I'm gonna keep it real here. I actually didn't buy Infinite Warfare on launch because I honestly didn't want to play it. It just didn't look appealing, since 3 years of advanced movement in a row just is like, alright, come on, like, twice is enough, maybe not 3, but I actually got Infinite Warfare as a Christmas present in 2016, I want to say, and it wasn't a bad game, I won't lie. Now, I heard it has a great campaign, and I'm gonna keep it real, I actually never played it. I just say it's good to fit in, but I've never actually played it. And the zombies on it, while it wasn't the greatest, I played it a little bit, not as much as I normally would with like a Treyarch zombies, but I still played it. It wasn't bad. It was honestly something new, and it was actually quite enjoyable, but could have been better, could have been a little bit more enjoyable than it was, but overall not bad. And multiplayer, while I can understand the hate on it and the specialists and all that, I didn't mind it that much. I thought it was a pretty fun game. It's because I played it very casually, right? I was on it for maybe like an hour every other day. I wasn't playing it like a normal COD. Now, if I played it like a normal COD, I would probably hate this game. But just playing it randomly and just waiting until like January of 2017 to play it, I didn't think it was that bad of a COD. Now, was it decent? We could say it's decent. I wouldn't say it's a good COD, but it wasn't bad. Now, it does have the microtransactions of supply drops, which I know Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3 have, but they did this pretty well. And my favorite thing about that is that you had these variants, like I think the big one that I always wanted was the MV4 in Nuclear, which allowed you to get the Deatomizer Strike or whatever it was called in Infinite Warfare. But it was essentially the nuke, and if you had that variant you could do it, and you could either get it out of supply drops, which let's be honest, you weren't getting it out of supply drops, or you could earn up enough armory credits or whatever it's called in that game to buy it. And granted, it took a while, but if you just played the game, you could get those for free, and that's honestly one of the good COD that did their supply drops right. Now, for the third COD in a row to have supply drops, I won't lie, they did it much better than Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3 did. Now, while Advanced Warfare supply drops were just fun overall, like, getting a supply drop in Advanced Warfare was great, alright? This was before supply drops were like the big bad guy. It was just like, oh my god, supply drops? It was super fun. Now, the variants in the supply drops were kind of annoying, but it was still fun. Then Black Ops 3 is like, okay, let's calm down. But this game, they did it alright, because you could kind of earn some of the stuff you got supply drops. So, putting it all in, I'd probably give Infinite Warfare a D tier. Not the greatest, not the worst. But after Infinite Warfare, we make our way all the way back in time to World War II. Now, Call of Duty World War II 2017 at launch was an incredibly terrible game, just like the rest of the Call of Duty games, but this game was the Division system, while it was kind of a cool idea, it was just not done right until they overhauled them. So if you remember, the only way you could hold your breath with a sniper was if you were rocking the Mountain Division. If you wanted to rock a suppressor, you had to be the Airborne, and just like a lot of just dumb stuff like that. So at the beginning of this game, I honestly gave it up pretty quickly because it just wasn't fun. But once they rehauled the game and started making it like actually decent, I went back and I was like, hey, this game isn't that bad. Now, campaign was also pretty good in this game. It did have its moments where it was just like, why? And then it also had zombies, which zombies in this game, it wasn't bad by any means, but literally every other zombies is better. I'd probably play Infinite Warfare zombies over World War II zombies. The only thing COD World War II zombies did really good was scaring the ever-living hell out of you and just being a horror zombies versus the arcadey style zombies we see with like Treyarch games. So overall, Call of Duty World War II, I didn't think it was bad, and it was honestly a pretty good time in my life. It was the first time I went to an MLG event, so I got to watch TK when they had Kenny and all of them. Kenny, Chino, Theory, Accuracy. I think it was still 4 players. I didn't think it was 5, but I got to see them play. Rookie years, just going crazy. It was just overall a good time. So World War II, I'm gonna have to give it a C tier, purely based off nostalgia. But making our way, we went back into the future with Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Now, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is really where I put my foot into YouTube and just started going. You could see it even on this channel from 2018, me just going. Now, granted, the quality of those videos were pretty bad compared to now, but it's still when I started going to YouTube and started having fun with YouTube editing videos in a COD. Now, once again, Black Ops 4 at launch was incredibly terrible. The new specialists were incredibly overpowered compared to Black Ops 3, where in Black Ops 3, your specialist had 2 abilities. You had more of a passive ability, and you had like an assault ability. So for example, Battery from Black Ops 3 had the War Machine as her assault ability, or she could have Kinetic Armor as her passive ability, which just made it where a couple bullets didn't hit you and you had more time to react and all of that. So that's one thing Black Ops 3 did better, was their specialists. Black Ops 4 specialists were incredibly broken. You had Ajax, which had his incredibly stupid 9-bang that if you had Tac Mask on, it did not matter. You were still getting flash for a solid 5 seconds. And he also has Riot Shield, which not even a score streak could penetrate, or the Rune's Gravity Spike or whatever it's called, that couldn't penetrate it. Then you also had even more stupider specialists like Nomad and Torque, just incredibly annoying to play up against. And then you had the more, not like overpowered, but requires somewhat skill like Tempest or the Annihilator, which would just fry you. Which, I won't lie, the Tempest with this little shock drone. Now if you ever got hit with the little drone Tempest had and you didn't press X or circle, wherever it is on PlayStation, fast enough in time, you know how annoying that was. You were just sitting there getting shocked for a solid like 15 seconds and you couldn't do anything. You couldn't move, you couldn't shoot back, you were just sitting there being a sitting duck, and chances are you were gonna die. Now, Black Ops 4 also didn't have a campaign. Instead, it got Blackout, which was a BR mode, which honestly wasn't that bad. Now, again, at launch, it was terrible. Now, if you remember, Blackout at launch didn't have 3D audio, so what that meant was if someone was above you and they were walking around, you wouldn't be able to tell, so you were just looking everywhere and just, it was rough. Alright, you could tell it was a rough game, but towards the end of the game's life cycle, Blackout was an incredibly fun game mode. Now, granted, I didn't play it that much, but every time I did play it, I had an incredibly fun time on it. Then, Black Ops 4 also had zombies, and Black Ops 4 zombies is easily my least favorite zombies ever. It was just bad. They added a new perk system, which sucked. It was like, you get to choose 4 perks that are on the map, and that's it. You can't choose any other. And while some were similar, like you had Electric Cherry and all that, you didn't have Jug because you spawned in with the 250 health, or 200, I forgot what it was, but overall, Black Ops 4 Zombie was just rough. The only map I liked was 9, but Black Ops 4 multiplayer is where I honestly played most of my time, and I gotta say, that multiplayer was so incredibly fun if you just ignore the specialists. The maps weren't great, but you know, they weren't Cold War bad either, and you also had fan favorite returning maps like Slums from Black Ops 2 or Grind from Black Ops 2, just phenomenal maps, or Summit from Black Ops 1, just all these good maps coming back. And you also had that incredible arcade style, which was just so incredibly fast paced. I still don't know how Treyarch made the game so fast paced without jetpacks, but I gotta give props to them, they did it. And the camos in that game were superior to any other Call of Duty ever. The Dark Matter is my favorite Dark Matter ever in Black Ops 4, especially how the Dark Matter would react over time. So after you got a certain amount of kills, you start growing spikes, and then it become brighter and brighter, and then at the end it returned into the Black Ops 3 Dark Matter, which I always thought was cool. Now personally, I like the previous Dark Matter where it got bright, then it got pink for some reason, and then it just got so bright where it was blinding you and you couldn't see. That was just, it was so stupid, but it was so fun. But you also had Gold Camo, which granted the Gold Camo didn't look that great, but if you got a double kill or a Fury kill, it would start having some like lightning effect on it, which I always thought was cool. And Diamond, which was just Black Ops 2 Diamond, but you could get Rainbow Diamond. And if you haven't seen Rainbow Diamond, let me show you Rainbow Diamond. Now, those were just the mastery camos. The actual reactive camos this game had was insane. If you ever have spare time, just go watch just Black Ops 4 reactive and mastercraft skins. It's just insane the amount of cool cosmetic stuff they had. Now, the downside to this was most of them were in supply drop, which supply drops they said they wouldn't be returning Black Ops 4, yet they did. And that's where things just started going downhill quick. You had pretty much everything in supply drops. You had kind of a battle pass system in Black Ops 4. Wasn't great whatsoever, and it gave you a really bad item that nobody ever wanted. All the good stuff was always in supply drops, and then they also introduced weapons with those supply drops. And if you just want to see the most overpowered one, it was called the Stingray, and it had what at the time was called an operator mod where the projectiles would blow up. If you want to see more than that, I'll pop up a video that I made back in 2019 when it actually came out. You can see that and just see how overpowered it was. Overall, I really did just enjoy Black Ops 4, so putting it on this tier list, I'm going to put it in B. Now, I know that could be a little controversial, but I really did enjoy it, and watching 100 Thieves, which was my favorite org at the time and still is, it was just phenomenal. The Optic versus 100 Thieves matchups are always great, and if you don't remember 100 Thieves run at Champs, then you gotta go watch that series. It was the best run ever in Call of Duty history. But honestly, while I did really enjoy Black Ops 4, I have to say, it was probably the worst Call of Duty ever made, from its microtransactions to just the complete stupidity it had in the game. And I remember saying at the end of my final review of Black Ops 4, I didn't think CODs couldn't get any worse, but here we are, and somehow they just get even worse. So, Call of Duty 2019, we have Modern Warfare. Now, this game had absolutely no reason being terrible, yet they still fumbled the bag, which I don't know how they did. This COD had superior graphics, a superior engine, superior sound, superior movement, just everything superior. Just the only things I didn't like was, of course, the lighting. I've never liked Modern Warfare's lightings. The map design was also terrible in this game, just some of the worst map designs I've ever seen. The incredibly high time to kill in this game was also just not fun to play against. And you also had the super camp meta, which every single person was just camping with either a Claymore or a 725, and if you wanted to move and play it aggressive, you just weren't. We're gonna keep it real, you were not playing it. And you also had skill-based matchmaking, which this was the first game to introduce the strict skill-based matchmaking. Now, Black Ops 4 had its SBMM, and you could feel it a little bit, but Modern Warfare, they just cranked it up a lot. So, Modern Warfare, it had no reason being this bad, but it is honestly my least favorite Call of Duty multiplayer experience ever. Now, Spec Ops in this game, also garbage. They didn't do anything with it. They just left it in the dust and just left it a terrible mode. I remember my final Modern Warfare 2019 review, I gave that mode a 0. Just garbage overall. No one ever played it. Now, they also had a campaign in that game, and that campaign was phenomenal. I love that campaign. It is one of my favorite campaigns besides Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. So, that's one thing they had going for them. Then they had Warzone. And Warzone saved the ever-living hell out of Modern Warfare 2019. If it wasn't for Warzone, Modern Warfare and Call of Duty will still be just a forgotten game that no one really cares about. But Warzone just had to be Warzone and came in. And Warzone, while I don't usually count it as Modern Warfare, I usually count them as separate games because that's how they treat the game. I'm going to count it here just to make it easy. Warzone is a great battle royale. I love it. Just the map is not fun. The map had the terrible camping meta to it where you had every reason to camp, and if you camped, you won the gunfight every single time. You had the incredibly overpowered Ghost, which Ghost in this game, if you don't know, usually with Ghost, you have to be moving for it to work and not appear on the radar. With Modern Warfare, you could be sitting still, not moving an inch. You could be away from your controller, and you will not appear on radars if you have Ghost. Just terrible overall, and it's still like that in Warzone. But Warzone, mainly, its big concern for me was the camping meta and being able to never move, where if you did move, chances are you're getting beaten from someone camping on a roof. So, overall, Modern Warfare 2019, while at the end of its life cycle, it was kind of fun. I enjoyed it more. I still think this is my least favorite COD of all time when it comes to enjoyment. Now, every other regard, it did great in, but enjoyment, it just fumbled the bag, and for that, I'm gonna have to make it a garbage tier game. I hated this game, and I still do hate this game. It has basically no redeeming qualities besides the engine, the movement, the graphics, and just the stuff that, like, yeah, it's cool to look at and have, but if you don't have a fun game, then none of that really matters. But just ignoring that, Modern Warfare 2019 just wasn't a fun game overall, and some other people might feel otherwise, and that's good for them, but overall, I didn't like it. So let's just move on to Call of Duty 2020, which is Black Ops Cold War. Now, Cold War is the worst Call of Duty ever made. Let's just keep it simple as that. Unironically, I could not think of a singular thing Cold War has going for it that other CODs don't already do better. It has a somewhat mediocre campaign. I mean, it's better than Black Ops 3, but that's about it. It has zombies, which zombies is fun. They just are taken in a terrible direction. There's only been one map added since launch, and that was in January of 2021. It's now June. We only have 2 maps in the game, and they're both pretty terrible. We have Outbreak, which Outbreak is pretty terrible once you do the Easter egg, because the Easter egg isn't fun at all. It's just annoying and just wastes your time. But don't worry, I will have an Easter egg video out on that later. But Easter egg in that game was terrible, and Outbreak as a mode just terrible. Then you have multiplayer. By far the worst multiplayer I have ever played. Cold War has some of the worst maps I've ever seen in any Call of Duty ever that are base maps. It has the worst gun balancing ever made, known to man, just terrible gun balancing, and they still refuse to address a few things like the M16. It has not been touched since launch, and it will still one-shot you in the chest no matter where you are, just disgustingly overpowered. Then you also have the incredibly strict SBMM, so if you thought Modern Warfare skill base was bad, Cold War just cranked it up to a whole nother knob, and you're basically playing Scumpy all the time. I've honestly stopped playing Cold War in the past few weeks because pubs in that game are just so incredibly not fun that I don't want to play. I don't care. I honestly play more League play now than actual pubs because my League play matches are more casual than my public game matches. It's just stupid. Why is the competitive mode more casual than the casual mode? Like, huh? How do you mess that up? So overall, Black Ops Cold War has absolutely nothing going for it. I have 0 redeeming qualities for this game. Anything this game does, another COD has done better. The only thing this game does well in is wasting your $60 and just making you feel like, damn, if I'm good at this game, what's the point of playing? Because I just get punished for being good. It's like, what's the point? This game caters to bad people, and if you're good, it just puts you up against good people also that are just trying their balls off, that just make it not fun. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to play like the bottom 2% of players that can't shoot back. That's also not fun, but I also don't want to play the top 15% players that are trying their balls off 24/7. I want to casually play. It can't be this hard. So overall, Black Ops Cold War, by far the worst Call of Duty ever made, and I am fine in saying that. And if you enjoy Cold War, I'm happy for you, because I'm honestly surprised, honestly, but Cold War sucks. So if you're wondering why I'm still playing Cold War now and uploading Cold War, it's for YouTube. So this is what I'm trying to do. As you've been seeing the gameplay, I have Black Ops 3 Zombies. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to shake up my channel so I don't have to play Cold War, honestly, because I honestly just don't like the game that much. So bringing it to a close, this is my final Call of Duty tier list. And if you don't remember, like I said in the beginning, this is the only tier list that matters. Coming to a close though, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure not to leave without leaving a like and subscribing and sharing this to all your friends and family. But until the next time, YouTube, see ya.